Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I like to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes along with everything else. We take a little bit more time to look at those elements because most of the time we're dealing with a karmic. Most of the time, we are dealing with someone that's triggering us, that we feel blocked, we feel like we're corded to somebody, but that person doesn't bring us joy, they don't bring us happiness, and we want to know why. What is the whole point? Some people actually write God wants to punish me. God hates me. I hate God. Like literally, I mean, I have a few channels and people literally rant because they get so angry from being stuck in a karmic cycle that keeps them stuck in a place of disempowerment, a place that makes them feel separate from love. See, we're all made of half dust and half deity. The dust part of self is a part of self that when we look in the mirror, we perceive that that's who we are. We perceive we are our experiences. We judge ourselves by our experiences. How much confidence we have, a lot of times is based on the families that we grow up in and then the experiences that we live. So we form these core beliefs, and the ego part of self believes that these beliefs are true. Now, there's the deity part of self, which is the God part of self, which is made up of unconditional love. It's universal energy, it's the energy of the universe. You have the stars and the sun and the moon inside of you, and that is perfect energy. Everything's in perfect alignment. Sacred geometry teaches us that even when we say, well, that leaf isn't perfect or that shape isn't perfect. God says everything is perfect as is. We tend to think it's not perfect because of whatever the experience was that brought us the negative emotion. But there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness depends on what you believe, and then the actions that you take are in, if they're in alignment with what you believe. Well, again, if you don't believe that you're deserving, then your actions and your habits are going to be in alignment with that. You know, people that have root chakra imbalances, which is that the connection to ourself, the connection to this, to God, the connection to each other on the planet, all currencies of of the physical world. Well, if there's blockages within that spiritual center, then all our chakras are blocked. And for those of you that don't know what chakras are, they're just the seven main psychological and emotional aspects of ourself. And they need to be in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of nature, and the laws of the universe, which are all the same thing. But for those of you that don't like the word universe, which I actually had someone tell me that, or those that don't like the word God, which I've had a lot of people tell me that, it doesn't matter because it's all the same thing. So, how whichever perception you want to see it as, the whole point is to be able to incorporate the spiritual lesson to create balance so that you can actually transmute that negative energy. And we transmute the negative energy from fear into unconditional love, which is power. Anytime we're in that energy of unconditional love, we feel powerful. It's when we connect to someone that's giving us that love and it's authentic, it feeds us, it makes us feel good. It helps us stand up a little bit straighter and not tolerate what we would normally tolerate if we don't feel good about ourselves, right? So these readings are not just about whether your person's going to come back, though, you know, we want to know that too. So I do look at that. The readings have a therapy style to them, so they're a bit longer. Any information that's of relevance you can find in the description box, including the word of the video. Now, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you have to be open to getting it live. I believe in spiritual law, what's best for everyone. You don't need to talk to me. I never need to say your name. I never do. Actually, I just channel. If you're chosen, I send you the link. It's your specific reading. I channel it to you. However, collectively, there's going to be a lot of other people that resonate with your message because this channel is all about healing the effects of trauma, and we all go through trauma. The problem is that after we go through the traumatic experience, we walk from that level of consciousness. The habits and the behaviorisms that we formed to survive and to thrive wind up being what blocks us. They become our biggest obstacles. So that's why it's important. You are the alchemist of your life. So it's not just about healing your mind. So you're going to have to do things differently to get the effects. Okay, just wanted to put that out there. You know, like I said, there's many different realities. That's why the readings, most people, most psychics say, these readings are just for fun. And these readings are just for fun. However, the reason why is because there's many different realities that play it at one time. So you might hear that someone's going to come back and you're going to win all this money and become famous or whatever it is. And then none of that happens because that was not your reality, but it was somebody's reality. Again, we all don't have the same habits and the same behaviorisms, but we all live similar experiences and we all have the same emotions and we all know what those emotions feel like. So again, the behaviorisms and the habits are going to create different blockages because again, the person is different. So that's why they say that it's just for fun. But these readings are to help you dive deep within inside of yourself to make you think, which I guess is fun, right? When you learn about yourself. All right, the word of the video is intolerance. Intolerance. We're going to pick another one. I feel like there's a lot of things going on right now. I feel like you are intolerant to the person that you're connected to. Like you're like, I don't really want to hear it. I'm over it. It's like any which way that you could have gone, you went the wrong way, And I really feel like I feel like that was you a while ago. And I feel like you got past that phase and then you just didn't care. Now I feel like the person that you're connected to is actually intolerant of their situation. They're like, I need to change. So I feel like you were intolerant and so you walked away a long time ago. Yeah, and you've been happy ever since. There's like this sense of peace. And it's because you didn't take on someone else's problems because you were intolerant of that, like of people coming into your life that had problems and dumping them onto you, and you expected to be the fixer. You've been pouring into yourself, where I feel like your person is either connected to someone that is intolerant to that, to again, that dynamic, or again, they're just intolerant to the way that they live. It's not just I feel like this person lived so detached and so disassociated, and their life fell apart because, again, when we're not living our true self, our higher self, it doesn't last. No one wants to work a bunch of temporary jobs until they find their job or live in temporary homes. There's a sense of a lack of a root chakra, and you were intolerant of like having a person come into your life that didn't really have any stability because that's what that root chakra represents, that there's no stability, that the person's like just like a rolling stone and that you're expected to create. You're like, I'm not doing that. Where I feel like the person that's connected to this person or the person that was connected to them, and either they were in a connection or they are on their way out of that connection, that's the message for this person. It's like you never know how to stand on your own 2 feet. And because this person has a very like blocked root chakra, they have a lot of self-sabotaging behaviorisms. Because when a person doesn't feel stable, then they don't feel good about themselves. And when we don't feel good about ourselves, we perceive that the answer is outside of ourselves. And so nothing is going to ever fulfill this person. because the answer is not outside of ourselves. No one can be perfect. This person comes on extremely strong in the beginning of relationships, and then as soon as they get comfortable, there's like no effort, and then they do exactly what they want to do. And so I feel like I'm intolerant of that. I'm intolerant of it, where I feel like this person's actually becoming intolerant of the way that they are, like I said, or their life, just their life. And I feel like you're their muse. This person's been watching you, which again, someone that has a lot of blockages, they would be someone that was stalkery and someone that didn't feel comfortable to actually be in your life. Tactlessness. Again, and that's why I feel like when you met this person, you knew already, like again, they didn't give you anything, you didn't stick around for it. This person's not used to that. They perceived you to be someone that because of your niceness, because of your compassion, I feel like you're someone that really is a happy person normally, and you give time and you give of your heart, and you're a genuine person, that this person read it wrong. And, there was a sense that they thought that they were going to, I feel like this person was a really big player. Like they would be talking to you and talking to like 10 other people at the same time. And I don't think in the beginning that you realized that, but you are intolerant to that behavior. Tactless behavior is that this person is really, again, that root chakra is off. That root chakra, you're going to see jealousy. You're going to see self-sabotaging behavior like addictions. You're going to see avoidant behavior. You're going to see someone that's extremely controlling, someone that lacks empathy, someone that gets triggered very easy, very easy. And so, like I said, there's nothing worse than being with a person that's jealous. And there would be jealousy because there's a sense that this person feels like they can't have it. They're not a child with this. They're a grown adult with a root chakra imbalance. That means they've lived a lifetime of bad experiences. They don't know who they are. Now, that wouldn't be bad, but because of living out of alignment for so long and not doing any healing at all, you're going to see a lot of addictions, and you're going to see self-righteous behavior. You're going to see that this person is always creating a facade, wearing a mask, because they don't like who they are. And so when a person has that root chakra imbalance, they're shady, they're deceiving, they're coming really from their ego. It's that primal energy. So you're going to see an overactive second chakra, where that's where usually the sex center, that passion, that emotion center. So it's going to be off, is what I'm saying is, and that's why you're going to see all these bad behaviorisms, because a person perceives that there's something wrong with them. It's a spiritual issue. And it's a spiritual issue that what you wind up hating yourself, you wind up not never being present, and then trying, your survival is reliant on somebody else. And it's not. That's what they think though, because they don't trust themselves over time. But then they're not going to show that. They're going to live from their addictions, because it still makes them, that if you're not in your highest energy becoming yourself and somebody's doing it for you, well, you still don't trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself over time, you're not going to trust the person that's doing everything for you either. And you're going to start treating them badly, because every time that that person isn't perfect, which was their perception for being with the finding a person that was gonna like fix them, again, this codependent energy, well, then it's taken out on that person, because it's this person doesn't feel that the way that they know how to do it. But then when they were perceiving your life, that your life was working, then they come into your life, they expect you to help them, then their life, they don't get the same benefits. And now your work is getting compromised. And then it becomes all about that drama and that insecurity. So you can see like why you were like, I don't want this. And you saw it right away. And you saw it right away because this person had a very hard time showing their feelings. They acted like they didn't care, but you knew that they did. It was a lot of mixed feelings. They were very stubborn. Like I said, they showed their insecurity. It's like that's like, and it didn't matter that you were like, you know what, I do have a connection to you. And part of this also is that you're in a place within your evolution that you're like, I don't have the patience anymore to do this, to be disappointed. And you're already showing me that you're being disrespectful, that you don't care, which is a telltale sign of when you're in a connection with a karmic, someone that's on a lower vibration. Avoidance, like I said, that's what you're going to see because they're not going to take responsibility because they don't know how to fix it. This is the way that they conduct their relationship. So either you become self like submissive. I was gonna say self-serving, like almost like to be like again suppressed, where you're not allowed an opinion, you're not allowed, and it's a real one-sided connection because over time the person is looking for you to be everything to them, but they're not really coming through emotionally or really even mentally. They may be coming like financially or helping with that, or in the beginning they come on as if they're emotionally attentive, and then all of a sudden over time it's again they don't have the capacity. See, it's like a child that has a child. A child that has a child will always feel that they never had a childhood. So a person that has a root chakra imbalance, they've never found themselves, which again, we normally find ourselves in childhood. We get to an idea of the things that we like, the things that we don't like. But if we grew up within a home that there was no support, again, root chakra imbalance, well, then the person was in survival. They weren't able to be like childlike, to find like things that they would be interested in. Or if they found something that they were interested in, that second chakra is so out of balance that they were reliant too much on other people. And those other people had the same energy as them, which root chakra imbalance means that you're shady. It means that you only care about yourself. You only have your best interest at hand. So over time, there's no foundation because the foundation of everything that's going to build, that's going to last, there needs to be love. There needs to be belief. There needs to be respect. There needs to be, in order for things to really wind up manifesting, everyone has to be on the same vibration and feel that way towards each other for it to last. When people start not getting along within in their home or business, that's when things again become more and more fragmented unless they're spoken about, where this person learned that you avoid. So they're not going to communicate and understand whatever the age that they had that trauma. It's like they're stuck in that experience. So they could be 8 years old, and here you're dealing with a 50-year-old like person, and they're like still kind of acting like they're 8 or 13 or 15, and it's because there was no support, and they were taught that love was transactional. They were taught right away that there was something wrong with them. So they're going to project a lot of these behaviorisms of avoidance that make you feel as if there's something wrong with you if you don't have if you have any wounds within inside of you. Again, keeping you lonely, avoidance, lonely, because you don't really feel like you're in a relationship with someone that's not going to be transparent, right? Someone that doesn't have respect for you. You can feel it that you're there, you might be here, but you don't really want to be here. So I don't really feel safe with you because you can leave at any time. So again, this person grew up in that type of environment. So here it is. That trauma is getting replayed out through their behaviorism of I'm going to be avoidant, I'm not going to be there. Um, it's going to keep you lonely, like I said. Because I look over here and look at this loneliness, the same thing. And I feel like you got tired. You got tired of being accused of you being the bad guy. Again, part of this person's avoidance, and also this person projecting. How can you give them emotionally if they don't give you anything emotionally? It's like you're too high of a vibration. This person has shame. And that shame, like when we live with that energy for long periods of time, it doesn't feel good. So what does a person do? They disassociate. It's like it's where they detach from themselves emotionally. So they haven't dealt with any of those emotions. So they don't really know what they feel. And all they know is that it creates a lot of resentment. And they get a lot of resentment too, because what it is like there's so much resistance with you. And it's because you're on too much of a higher vibration than this person. They can only do it temporarily. And then what happens is they drop back down. They're still too negative. They haven't done a lot of healing. And so what'll happen is over time, this person will become self-righteous because you're going to be like mommying them or daddying them, having to tell them what they need to do, how they need to do. And meanwhile, they're like a teenage kid not listening to you. Like they don't want to. And so you'll see it as betrayal, which again is that root chakra imbalance, which is this really negative energy when it's a grown person that has it. It means that there's a lack of connection to themselves and there's a lack of connection to like other people. So you're going to see that avoidant, you're going to see emotionally unavailable, you're going to see addictions, you're going to see, in order to say detached and disassociated, you have to do something in order to stay busy, in order, because your mind can't be in two places at one time. So suppression is, I know what I'm doing to avoid the situation because I don't know what to do about it. Repression is that energy has been in there for so long, like you forgot about the experience, you forgot about the feeling, you forgot about the emotion, you forgot about all of it. It's fragmented. It's like it's a part. You're like, I don't remember most of my childhood. People that have gone through trauma, they'll say that. I don't remember a lot of my childhood, or I don't remember certain elements of a situation. Again, those are fragmented pieces, but that energy is still very much inside of you. Um, because you're an energy being. You're only in physical form to learn and to manifest. So again, those fragmented pieces are going to make you feel as if that there's something wrong with you. When meanwhile, you created habits and behaviorisms that were in alignment with those particular experiences, and you don't really even remember the experiences. But you're going to, part of that would be being very reactionary. So this person may, again, get triggered a lot and then react and then project, which is a sign of that root chakra imbalance, where again, everything's going to be your fault. And then over time, it's going to be just mistrust. And mistrust is, that second chakra where intimacy now gets affected because I don't trust you. And the most basic foundation of intimacy is what? It's trust. And so what does this person do? They try to make you jealous because now they're like, now you're disgusted. And so they're not going to get their energy from you. They got to get it from somewhere else. And in that, the best case scenario is then you're going to get mad and create emotion, which actually happened not, I believe, with you, but with other people in the past. So this person thought that you would do that and become obsessed with them, but what happened is you did not do that. I feel like you walked away and now they're obsessed with you. Again, jealous because again, you're like, what are you doing? It's like you're not affected. You must be talking to somebody else. It's the way that you detach from this person. Like I said, they showed you who they were, and you were like, okay, peace out. And they just thought that you were always going to stick around. Like there was no warning of it. You didn't have a talk with them. You didn't say anything. You just watched what they did, and you're like, there's no even point to even say. So of course this person's jealous because they're not in a happy space, and you're in a happy space. You're balanced. You can. This person craves that, but they know that they betrayed you. So they're like, and there's a part that you're like, I don't really need you to come towards me right now because that's the energy that I left you in, which is it's all about yourself. Now, if you weren't going to betray me, eventually you would, but emotionally, you weren't giving me. So you were trying to get me to react. You were trying to get to lower my energy, to take my focus off what I'm doing to again put the focus on you, and you weren't going to give anything in return. So again, instead you put the energy into yourself. That's why this person's pissed off, where really again they play too many games. They need to put energy into themselves without being in a relationship. This again, forgiveness. This person could have came back and asked for forgiveness a long time ago. They didn't. It's like they knew that they weren't giving you time. They knew that they weren't giving you energy. They knew, but they deliberately held back an apology. And because of that, you're like, I don't want this. It's like, again, on a lower vibration. I'm too prideful. I don't want to seem weak. I really, now they're going to make 1,000 excuses when they finally come to give you that apology, if you get that apology. But understand, if you don't get the apology, it's because, again, they don't want to really raise their energy high enough. They don't, if they apologize, then they have to look at you differently, then they have to look at themselves differently. And people that have root chakra imbalances, they live in survival mode. They like that energy. They like the drama. There's a part of that person. Why? Because they feel inadequate. Otherwise, life is boring. So they shit stir. And it's because again, it takes the focus off of them. Now they won't say that, but all their actions are showing you that. So, this person could have came back and asked for forgiveness a long time ago. And I feel like this person like expected you just to like forget about it. And you're like, no, I'm not going to forget about it because it was disrespectful. And they're like, oh, well, now you're putting me in a position that's uncomfortable. I don't care. And you're like, I don't care. But this person is pissed off that they have to do it, and they're pissed off that they read you wrong, and they're angry. But it's again, they're delusional because people that have that root chakra imbalance that are so shady and are only looking at themselves, they're not really ever paying attention to anyone else. And that's why they keep reliving betrayal. They think that they can outsmart people, and anyone can outsmart someone for a certain amount of time until everybody wakes up. But this person continues to live that lifestyle. And it's again to keep up that self-image. And with you, what did I say? I'm not going to give you that apology because I'm too prideful and I don't want to look at myself that way. I don't want to look at you this way, where I actually have to look at you with the respect that you deserve. I don't want you to think that I care that much. It's again, I don't want to show I'm weak. It's I'm an emotionally not intelligent because whatever the trauma was in childhood, where again, no support, this person had no support. So emotionally, if they showed any emotional, they were probably told that it was weakness and they were told to shut it down. So it's like this person holds on to the self-image more than the relationship. And so it keeps them stuck in this place of sadness because they don't want to like look at them different. So they stay in a place of stress. I feel like this person works a lot, where again they do well in work, but I don't really feel like they're happy at their job. So again, other people may benefit from them. And that could be like exes, or it could be family, that this person's not strong within themselves. So again, family patterns. So that answered that. It's again, karmically, they're winding up, taking care of too many people. I feel like they're family and they don't really have their own life. So choices that were made also because this person was taken advantage of before, they keep creating the same thing. They're in the same type of karmic loop. I just feel like they read you wrong and they're regretting it now, but it's like they wouldn't want to come back and apologize because they don't want to shatter their self-image. They're not in a place of healing. And you wouldn't want them to come back to you like this. This is really negative and this is really bad energy. This is for sure this person would sabotage like the connection and you too, again, karmic contract. What did I say? I knew it. And to be like in a karmic contract with someone, it's this that's all that this person knows. They identify that with that toxic energy more than they do with what's healthy, which is common when you grow up in survival mode, when there's no stability and you haven't created stability. So this person like comes into people's lives, they do what they do and then they leave and they leave that person in ruins a lot because again they're not, and so keep the person in anger. And what did I tell you about the addictions? So that's this energy. So I, even if this person comes back, which I feel like again eventually they might try to like bump into you because there's a sense of, I have feeling, but I don't want to look weak. It's like, or I'm curious, and I'm jealous. I'm like, again, there's this sense of obsession, which is not healthy. It's more like, again, devil energy. So, and when we see contracts, that means that there's still a very strong spiritual connection. And when it's this type of karmic connection, spirit saying is to help you break those karmic patterns of, again, if you grew up in it's like if it was any type of codependency, or you had a parent that was avoidant, you had a parent that just was um, had any type of addiction, or if they were in a karmic contract themselves, well, it's again to break the family pattern, to become your full self, your whole self, and because that would be very codependent. That would be extremely toxic. It would be a trauma bond. That is the worst type of codependency. And it creates sickness because you're always angry, and if the person's always drunk or wasted, well, again, that's not good. You're always going to see money issues because money is going to other places that where they really shouldn't be, right? All right, so let's see why you attract this person into your life. What does spirit want you to heal? Resilience. Well, again, I feel like that's a gift. So you're used to dealing with energy like this, where it's like you're resilient, that you're not easily broken, where this person misjudged you. Again, I feel like you're someone that tends to like come across very sensitive and nice. So this person again confused your compassion, confused the higher energies because for that magic. Well, right now we're seeing your gifts because it's like you got away from this person. It's like your magic is your essence. Your magic is your again psychic abilities, that discernment. Like again, that right away, like you changed the whole dynamic of this connection just with what you did without saying one word. And then I feel like it's also like you're putting your energy into yourself. You're creating yourself, and you're finding your gift, but you're also having a stronger relationship with other people and within the universe, and you're making things happen, and you're seeing how the universe is bringing situations and experiences to you, which is kind of magic, where this person sees that too, and that is how they're perceiving you. Much different energies, much higher vibration. Sing. Again, you found your voice. Feel like when you were younger, you might not have been able to speak your truth as much without there are consequences. And it's not that there aren't consequences now, but you don't know, care and you know how to discern and avoid certain things. So you're able to make the world with your voice. You did grow up with trauma. It's not like you didn't. That could be psychological, it could be emotional, it could be financial, it could be, again, your parents not around, didn't have money. I actually had a friend that their parent made them like go and live on their own at like 12 years old, like where my friend was literally asking her friends to ask their parents if she could stay on their couch. I mean, terrifying. Imagine that type of trauma. Again, financial trauma, or again, no support. You know what that does? It creates so much trauma, but it gives you gifts because again, you're so traumatized, you don't even know how you get through. But then the universe brings you people and situations that just kind of like show up for you and to work out. And I feel like you did have trauma. And it's psychological and emotional trauma. And because you also grew up in an imbalanced environment. So you, again, probably grew up the same way that this person grew up. It's just they haven't done any healing and you have. Laughter. The spirit says joy, to be around joy. Feel like, again, and when you grow up with trauma, there is no laughter, there is no happiness. You weren't in a passion type of energy of being a child and finding yourself. You were too busy trying to survive. And so, again, laughter was stolen. So, spirit says, again, like to go out and experience joy. One more, which is nurture. And nurture yourself. You weren't nurtured. Again, nurtured is, I always consider that emotional, so you weren't. That wasn't. It was trauma. But again, the child that survives thrives. Again, it was trauma where emotionally you didn't get your laughter, your joy, your passion. To be able to speak your truth, it was like you weren't really allowed to. You had to intuit whether it was going to be safe, whether or not your parent was going to yell at you or not. And it could be just your parent could be somebody that was very moody themselves. It just wasn't happy and projected a lot of their anger onto you. But still, intuitively, you were like, I know what to say and what not to say. Where now it's like, you don't care. You're intolerant to like dummying down. That's where you are, and that's what you showed this person. And they never dealt with that before. And it's again, you showed your resilience. You're like, I had that resilience for a long time. It's not like I just adapted it. I grew up in an environment that gave me those skills and spirit says, and so you see, even though you grew up with that trauma, you did walk away with gifts. And it was to see your experience a little bit differently, to be connected to someone, that there is this unconditional love because there is a spiritual connection, but then to see how broken, and that that person's like behaviorisms and habits are not who they are. That's a part of their spiritual, I say, a spiritual disease when we've been walking around with the root chakra imbalance like that for so long. Because again, we become primal. We're supposed to evolve to be a higher state of consciousness, not primal, not like the Mayans and cavemen. You don't have to live like that. But if we wind up surrounding ourselves in an environment with people that are like that, we become like that. And the problem with that is you live a lot shorter because you're conditioning your nervous system to live in survival mode because your thoughts and your emotions are what trigger your emotion, your bodies. You know, uh, I can't say the word. I know I'm going to botch it. Physiologically, it throws off your body systems. You can't stay in survival mode for long periods of time. You won't digest your food. You won't be able to sleep at night. You'll have anxiety. You'll have depression. So it's really important. And Spirit says, fear strength. Well, that's what you showed, darling. You showed fear strength, that you don't need to raise your voice to be powerful. And that's what you showed this person. I don't need to be full of drama. I don't need to create fireworks. to get my message across. I'm powerful. You showed fear, strength. That's exactly what you did. Your actions spoke volumes. That's Spirit said, I needed you to do that. And maybe you were always someone that would give someone a second chance and try to explain and, where Spirit says, no explaining. If you think that this person doesn't know what they're doing, they know what they're doing. I think that you weren't sure. And then because you didn't intuitively like look, but when you intuitively looked, you were like, okay, this doesn't make sense. You wanted to believe that they weren't that way. But it's again, they are that way. The Spirit says it was to help you transform. It's again, you still had some of those traumas from childhood that needed to be healed, where maybe you felt really weak. You grew up with trauma and you weren't nurtured. You, as a child, children need nurturing. You didn't have joy. There was no laughter. It's again, you were in survival mode. You were traumatized, so you were no here nor there. You were in between worlds. Again, that psychic realm. So again, the child that survives thrives because they can go in their imagination. So the Spirit's saying now it's about taking all this energy from the past of your trauma. This person awoke in that trauma. And possibly you had a lot of behaviorisms the same that they did, but you see how far that you've come. So they've helped you actually transform because you dealt with it different. And again, to release the limiting beliefs that no longer served you. You realize you're not that person. You freed yourself. That's what you did. So that's what Spirit said. That's what was the point of this connection, was to help you transform that leftover trauma from childhood. Again, this person triggered a lot of that. Again, you might not have remembered the exact experiences, but it's again, nevertheless, they were blockages and they were showing up as affecting your abundance level, and your capacity to attract exactly what you wanted. It doesn't mean that you weren't attracting variations of it, just like, again, there was always something off with the energy. Um, Especially that, right? So we leave off with one more, and that's freedom. I release my wounds, create doubt, resentment, and guilt, so I work to free myself of darkness. I cast off negative thoughts, find peace in my heart, and discover the being of light within me. Sorry, hold on a second. I just want to, sorry about that. Just couldn't deal with the barking. So I'll read that again. I release my wounds, create doubt, resentment, and guilt. So I work to free myself of all the darkness. So again, that's what this connection was about. Freedom from that. And so that you could again be a clear conduit for Spirit to work through, so that you can attract exactly what is in alignment with what you want and who you are today, not the wounds of your past. I'm going to leave that there before my dog starts to go crazy again. You let me know how you resonated with this one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.